my beautiful friend, Krystal. I'm so excited to welcome you to the Healthy Hustlers podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. And obviously you just have the most beautiful, abundant energy. And I'm so glad that our paths are crossed.
Same. I feel exactly the same, isn't it? I feel like this happens often, but every time it happens, it feels just as magical when you meet someone and it feels like you've known them for lifetimes.
Literally.
And I'm like, we've only been connected for a few months, but it literally feels like
years.
Years, yes, which is so cool. And I feel like that's when you really feel like you've met your aligned, soul sisters, your friends. There is so much I want to dive into in this episode with you. But first things first, I really want to talk about your Saturn return, because I know that's been a huge shift for you in particular over the last kind of 12 months. Can we dive into what your Saturn return felt like for you and how it's landed you exactly where you are today?
Okay, Saturn return. So I only learnt what a Saturn return was today. I had no idea up until this point what a Saturn return was. I was like, what are you talking about, Mads? A Saturn return?
When you just always used to say when I turned 30, and I'm like, yeah, it's a thing.
It's a thing. And
yes.
I felt like turning 30 was like really huge for me in the sense of it's almost like this switch went off inside me. I think I was struggling for a really long time. I was hustling. I was working 7 days a week, 10, 12-hour days. I was trying to fit social life, trying to fit life in with my husband. We were on property. I think I was trying to navigate managing it all, and I almost felt like I lost my sense of self. I got really sick, and I spent 4 to 5 months on back-to-back antibiotic rounds for a really long time. And then it was probably 2 to 3 weeks before I turned 30. I had to have wisdom teeth out, had to go on another round of antibiotics, and I basically got like high functioning depression. It just went really downhill for me. And I think it was kind of like such a thing. I was like, this seems to be a cycle throughout my lifetime. Every 3 or 4 years, like everything will be going really great. And then all of a sudden, it just goes down like really rapidly and really quickly. And so I spent my 30th in Tasmania in such like the most beautiful locations, really remote and really beautiful spots. And I sat with myself and was just like, something needs to change. I didn't get to turning 30 and, to be at this point in my life and still be in the positions I felt like I grew up in that survival and chaotic mode as a child. And it was the day I turned 30, I woke up and we were in this beautiful spot in Tasmania, hinterland, looking out over the ocean, and it was gorgeous. And I actually rolled over and said to my husband, I was like, it's been 15 years since I tried to commit suicide. And now I get to say that I turned 30 and I've lived out half of my life the way that I never knew that I could imagine I would.
Crazy. What a moment for you to have that and to go back to your younger self and what she was kind of feeling.
God, yeah. It was just, I never thought I'd live to 30. It was really crazy.
What was the turning point for you? Was there an age where you really started to shift your thoughts and beliefs and realize that you can actually be quite different to what you are currently thinking? Or was there like a pivotal moment of like either a podcast or a book that really shifted things?
I think my perspective comes from the life I've lived. I'm a generator, so I teach and learn everything through what I experience. And so I experienced a really chaotic childhood, like domestic violence, alcohol, drug abuse. I've witnessed a lot of things in my lifetime, and I knew from such like a really young age that I didn't want that. I knew that something had to change because I didn't want to live out the same lifestyle that I was currently being in. The craziness, the police, the violence, the scared. It was always living in fear and not knowing whether or not there would be any safety at any point. And if it wasn't me witnessing it, it was almost being lashed out onto me as being the oldest child. It was almost that sense of I was the not wanted child throughout my childhood. So I felt that a lot. And I knew from that real point, feeling the way that I felt, that I wanted to be a woman and an adult that really had love and compassion. And I wanted to rewrite my story and not live what I'd went through.
And so when you grow up with that kind of internal knowing almost that you don't want that path, what guidance did you like search for? If you're obviously your parents, your caregivers are meant to be that for you. So was there like a school teacher? Was there anyone really that was that role model? Or was it your own path that you started to gravitate to?
I think it was my own path.
Yeah.
Like, I've always had a really deep sense of deep desire for more, like craving. Like, I know that I was meant for more, and I've said this my entire like adult like hood essentially. Like, I knew I was meant for more, but I can't pinpoint what it was exactly. Like, and I've always had this sense. And we were moving from different locations as like childs and teenagers. My mum went to jail, and so there was like lots of things that went on throughout my life. And because things were shifting, my parents would have really bad relationships with friends, so I never had anyone, I guess, to look up to in a sense. It was just like, I need to be my own saviour, and I need to pull myself out of this because I know that there is something more out there.
It's always like mind-blowing, if I'm honest, when I hear stories along your lines where there wasn't that foundation of like love and connection and security, stability, to just think like this young child has now turned into the incredible woman that you are. I know your podcast is... We always get it wrong.
Yeah. Abundant and ambitious, or ambitious and abundance. Like, I will take anything.
We always have a joke between us about this. We're like, hang on, did we say abundant or ambitious?
Or ambitious and abundant. You know,
I love
be
that
when you
so much.
tune.
It's so true. But you talk so much about abundance and ambition based on literally your life experience. Like you said, you're a generator. You share from life experience. What does abundance mean to you now after having the childhood that you did where it was, you know, no safety, no security, to now being so secure, so safe, but also having freedom? What does abundance mean, and what does it give to you?
Abundance means for me so many different things. I think abundance is having a sense of confidence, having a sense of self-worth, living in alignment, and being my true authentic self. More importantly, I spent a lot of my time molding myself into circles so I could have friendships that weren't really deep, it was more superficial, so I could fit in. And I've always been like, for me, abundance should be who I am at my core. It should be me living in alignment, doing the things I love, and not allowing others to project on me and do what they think I should be doing, because then that's where I really struggle and I don't feel in my most abundant self.
Yes, and you are such an embodiment of that, of your work, what you teach, what you share, which I just love so much about you. What was some of the modalities? Like, was it mindset? Was there therapy, talk therapy? Did you lean on any of those things earlier in your journey to kind of help open up the doors?
I guess as a really young teenager, I did a lot of therapy, and I almost have PTSD from therapy.
Really? Yeah. Talk therapy?
Yeah, because you just go through the process of reliving everything you go through, and at some point you become emotionally numb. And I was very much, I can't change the past. Like, the past is the past, and it has happened, and I am the one in control of my future, so I need to be the one to start making the decisions today so that I can live the life that I truly want. So I guess when it comes to terms of modalities, it was almost like manifesting.
Yeah.
I'm going to have this life. I see myself living here. Like, I really lent into visualizing what my dream life would look like in times that was really hard, because that's what got me through.
Really?
It was seeing past what I was currently experiencing in pain and knowing that there was always going to be light at the end of the tunnel.
Wow, that's incredible that you had the ability to do that, because that's like a really hard thing to do in difficult times, but to not have anyone guiding you almost to that or giving you any of the evidence of what's possible, but yet to still show up for that.
I know, and I think it's given me so much life experience. Everyone always says, like, I'm an old soul because I'm full of wisdom, and it's because I've literally taught myself to get to this point to where I am today, and it's such like a beautiful thing to have. And I wouldn't take back the life that I've lived, because it has taught me so many beautiful things, even in the hardships of it all.
When you're told that you're an old soul, how does that feel for you? Like, does it have meaning? Does it resonate?
I think for me, I feel very well beyond my years.
Yeah.
I've always been told I'm a very mature. Even I bought my first house at 20 and people thought I was a psycho. And it was just, everyone always said I was an old soul. And I definitely do feel very well beyond my years. Like, to think that I'm 30, I feel like I should be 40 or 50, literally. Not in the sense of like my body feels 40 or 50, but mentally I feel like I have so much knowledge and life wisdom that not everybody my age has.
No, I completely like resonate with what you're saying towards you. I just think that you are so wise beyond your years. And I think something I really admire about you, and what I really want to dive into this episode, is because your ability to take action while still feeling fear is why you have such incredible results and why you're literally ultimately quantum leaping.
Literally.
Like year on year.
In
like
the 11/11 portal this week.
It's actually crazy. And I'm like, I want to dive into a lot of that with you because I feel like there's a lot of people that will resonate with, you know, right now, your business
is thriving.
Yes.
But
so you have a skincare business. Let's give a bit of context to you right now, your business, your personal brand that you're building, the podcast that you're building.
Yeah. So I'm a bachelor qualified skin clinician. I have a skin clinic where I help women be their most confident, authentic selves, and it's the most beautiful, rewarding career that I could have ever asked for. I have been doing it for 12 years and I've had my business now for 3.5 years, I think it is.
Yeah, wow.
And throughout my 20s, I never wanted a business. I had left to have videos of me saying, I don't want a business, it's too stressful. And here I am at 30 with a business and thriving.
Did you have to work on that belief? Was that something that, okay.
I was just like, I have worked in many clinics, I guess, over the years and help operate them and manage them. And I always saw a lot of the behind the scenes stuff. And sometimes I feel like we can almost make things a little bit more chaotic than what it needs to be. It's almost that like hustle and chaos, survival mode. You know, I thrive in chaos type situations. And I very much used to be that, I thrive in chaos. A house can be burning down around me and I'll be there with my cup of coffee sipping like nothing's wrong.
And was that a story that you really played into?
Yes, I really played into it. And it was so funny when I literally quit my job and the same day I started my business. There was no like wait period. It was like, nope, I can't take my job anymore. I was burnt out. My health took a huge turn. And so I was like, you know what? If anybody's going to do it, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it on my own terms.
That's amazing to have that. Like, what was the moment where you realized, okay, I'm really associating myself with the story of chaos? Because obviously you having that belief that I can survive in a house burning down is literally your childhood. You survived through your childhood with everything burning down around you. So it's like your mind has ultimately looked for that evidence for that to be your belief. Yes.
Yeah. I think the biggest turning point for me was I had worked 14 days straight. I had a UTI that had tracked to my kidneys. I was urinating blood and I couldn't leave to go to the hospital. And I was physically unwell. Like, I was unwell. I became mentally unwell. And I was like, I can't do this. And I literally...
At work. You were at work.
I was at work. And I literally was like, I'm done. Like, physically, mentally, emotionally, I am done. And that was a really huge turning point because I was just like, why keep sacrificing myself? Why keep giving everything of myself to people who don't even appreciate what I'm giving to them? And I was just like, I really need time to heal. So I was like, in the process of starting my business, I gave myself time to heal. And during my business journey, yes, I have gone back to that chaotic structure multiple times because it does feel familiar. Like, to me, I like being busy. It's safe to me, you know, working 7 days a week. Like, I got to that point again because that's my familiar. Like, working 10-hour days, studio set from home. So I'm like, if I'm at home, I may as well be working because I'm making money. And I got to that point. I burnt out probably 3 or 4 times since having my business. But this year was like Krystal, something has to change. You really can't keep doing this.
Wow, I love that awareness for you, because it's so true. Like, anyone listening who's kind of like resonating with this is, you and I both know that as soon as we have a belief, it's like our mind will continue. That belief can be good or bad. It can support us or it can not support us. But our mind will continue to look for that evidence that that's the truth. So you continuing to look for that chaos. It's even as simple as like, I personally used to think money would always go out faster. Like, I was always like, I earn good money, but it's just like always going out faster. And I had a girlfriend say to me, you have to build the evidence, like you have to believe it to build the evidence before the evidence shows. And that really clicked for me. And so I worked on a new belief of money comes in way faster than it goes out, and I'm always safe to spend. And obviously I had to start strengthening that before it was the proof, before I had any evidence. And it's just wild in such a short period of time, me just reminding myself, like regulating my nervous system in that moment. I'm safe to spend money because it's always coming in.
And money loves circulation.
It literally just and I'm like, wow, like in 3 months, I've built so much evidence that is now my truth.
Yep.
And you've obviously gone and done that now with your business as well, where it's like, no, I can have a thriving business that I love while also still building a podcast and a personal brand that I'm deeply passionate about.
God, yeah.
Yes.
And like, I'm so strong in the vision of, I know there's women out there that I can help. And I know there's women out there that'll really resonate with my story. And so like, I know that I'm meant for more, and this is like my calling. And I think these last few months, even since we've met, Mads, like I feel my most authentic, grounded self, and I can feel it almost in every presence and like every aspect of myself. And it's like such a really beautiful thing to feel like I feel so at home now. Even like turning 30 was really beautiful, but even getting towards the end of 2025, like I can say that I'm leaving 2025 so grounded and so at home within myself.
Oh my goodness, I'm like getting super
I know.
emotional.
I'm like trying to hold back my tears.
Put eyelashes on, girl.
Yes.
But I like, even in the short period we've known each other, you just have, like, from the get-go, you've always had a very grounded energy, but you're so much more grounded in who you are, even in that period. And I want to talk about the kind of taking action, because this is ultimately the thing that I see, especially from a kind of coaching, mentoring lens. And to give some context to our relationship, we've obviously been working with each other in a mentorship role for your podcast, but it's grown so much more than that into this beautiful friendship. And now we get to do this together. But ultimately what I see in so many women, and I know I was there at the start of my journey, and it's a work in progress. There's always moments where it fires back in, but ultimately that fear blocks us from even getting started. So the dreams and the vision can be there, and we can be saying we're manifesting things or we're meditating on things, but if we're not actually taking that action, despite the fear that's sitting there, we just hold ourselves in basically a holding bay. And you're so incredible at feeling that fear, recognizing that fear, acknowledging it, but moving so quickly despite it. What is that process like for you? I know it's constantly shifting, because it's even shifted since we first started working together. But, you know, initially going from skin therapist to I want to build a personal brand and a podcast, feeling that fear. What's that process like in the earlier stages compared to what it is now? Because now it's 2 seconds. The other day we were on a call and you're like, oh my goodness, no, that's too scary. But I'm just going to say yes anyway.
Yeah. And I was like, I'm doing it anyway. I think it definitely has changed a lot over the years. I used to be very much like, or maybe I need to think about it. Maybe it was almost like leaning into that fear of, oh, I don't know if that's actually right. Because I'm somebody who likes to have lots of cards on the table almost. Like I like to see all my cards played out, and then I kind of like to be able to go, oh, if this one doesn't work out, I can jump into this and jump into that.
Safety plan, like a net almost.
Yes. And so now it's just, if it feels good and if it's a gut yes, I say yes. There's no waiting around, because I know within myself that when I don't say yes to the thing that I can feel that I need to say yes to, I instantly start regretting it later on down the track. And I was like, think of where I could be right now if I just had to listen to my gut and said yes. I could be so much further along in that journey than sitting here waiting around procrastinating, oh, like I haven't got the money, or oh, I'm doing something, I'm going on holidays, or oh, I'm going on a shopping spree. And I think it comes back to prioritizing as well. Where do you want to be and where do you want to go? Because if you want to have a set limitation on where you want to be in a certain amount of time, you just have to start saying yes and figure it out along the way, literally.
I love that.
And that's
I
my
think
life
that's
motto.
why you're quantum leaping so quickly, because it's like you are saying yes to those things that are feeling in alignment, which is then ultimately opening more and more doors, isn't it? Like it's...
Yeah, and I've almost learnt now too, just even since we've been together, like you always say to me, no doesn't mean no right now. No doesn't mean no, it just means not right now.
Yeah.
And I've been really honing into that. And I'm like, cool, they've said no, but that doesn't mean it's no forever. It just means in this moment it doesn't suit them, but I can always come back and it might be a yes.
Yes, it's so true. And what have been some of the mindset shifts? Like for me, like me sharing that with you, that was a really big mindset shift for me in business, especially when I was like pitching to big guests or to brands and I would get a no. I was like, that's actually just Like I look at it as it's either a redirection and like a safety, especially if it's with brands saying no. I'm like, that's just the universe actually protecting me, because maybe I don't actually fully have the capacity right now to bring that to life, or maybe they're going to be really challenging to work with, or so it's actually protection. And then also no with like guests or maybe clients coming into my world. I'm like, it's just not aligned for them right now, but it doesn't actually say anything about me or what I'm building, creating, you know. So what have been some of those really, I guess, mindset shifts that stand out for you that have guided you?
I used to think that I wasn't worthy of interacting with people who had status almost, or people who, you know, had a social media influencing or following and things like that, because I was like, well, I'm just little old me. Who am I to think that I could be in the rooms with other beautiful, emotionally talented, business-led women? Like, who do I think I am to be in those rooms? And I've really had to do a lot of inner work on that, because they were me at some point, just like you were me at some point. Like, and I always come back to with, you know what, they are amazing at what they do and they're so embodied with who they are, but they were me at some point, and if I don't shoot my shot, I'm never going to know what their answer was.
I love that. And I think it's also, I love that you said that too, because it's that you then, it's like trusting your evolution. Like we can only meet ourselves where we currently are, but if you trust that you're constantly evolving, and like your mindset shift, like your mindset's going to shift even if we do this podcast in another 12 months. You'll have different perspectives and like different wisdom. But
Next
I'm like,
week, babe.
Yeah, literally. But I mean, like, isn't that the beauty of actually being human and being able to share and trusting yourself enough to share where you're constantly at? And also knowing that you wouldn't get the opportunities that you're getting if you weren't worthy of them. Growing up, I'm sure that really imprinted a lot for you around the not worthiness. And I think that can show up for people in so many different ways. Where did you, aside from like the people with status or being in certain rooms, where else were you finding that unworthiness was showing up in your life really loudly?
I think it was showing up in a lot of areas, like my relationship with my husband. I'm going to get teary. I think it shows up in a lot of aspects, because like when you're told constantly, like all the time, like you're unloved, you're not wanted, you wish you were never here, it's really hard to see worth in yourself. And I have had to do so much work in the sense of I am worthy of being here, and there is a reason that I am here. I just had to really work on that, like that little voice inside my head. I really had to sit there and go, okay, I can hear that, but I know that there is no evidence right now to say that I am not worthy. Like I am a beautiful, capable human being like every other woman on this planet, and I am so worthy. So every time I would have those feelings of feeling my mum say those things to me, I'd be like, there is no evidence in this actual moment to say to me that I am unworthy of the things I'm capable of. And I really had to sit with that.
Oh, I know that was really big for you. Thank you for sharing that.
I think it's hard.
It would be like, especially to have that from such a young, vulnerable age, like how much is imprinted in those early years. And I think, like for you to get to this point and to just show up in the world the way you do is just unbelievable. Like you're worthy of million times more success than you've already built, just for that determination too that would take to like relentlessly work through those beliefs.
I even had a moment the other week, and I remember I voice noted you too. I was just having such a bad week period, and I was like not feeling myself. And I went back to that. Maybe I'm not worthy of being in Maddie's energy. Like maybe I'm not worthy of being in my other mentoring group. Like maybe I'm not worthy of all the success that I'm having right now. And I really had to sit with that feeling. And I went through a huge shift during my cycle like that a few weeks ago. And it was like such an eye opener for me to feel that way. And I was like, you know what? Like I'm quantum leaping. It's scary. I'm going to have so many beliefs keep popping up, but I just have to keep working through them like an exercise and repetition. I'm going to get better and stronger, and eventually they won't even be a thought.
It's so true. It is that repetition too, isn't it?
Yeah.
I know a big thing for you, obviously, and everyone, like when you're I go through, anyone that's expanding is constantly going through environment shifts as well. So it's like getting really comfortable with letting go of people, beliefs, all of that.
It's been a hard
but especially people that are no longer serving you. And I know we had a conversation around someone in your environment that used to make you feel really bad about showing up online and you have to show up in a certain way.
Yeah.
Are you open to speaking about that? Because I feel like that's you changing your physical environment in terms of people has also been such a massive moment for you to really quantum leap as well, hasn't it? Yeah. What did your environment in terms of like friendships and that used to look like, and how did you feel versus what you've called in now?
Yeah, I think friendships are such a weird thing. I've been through so many different evolutions of the Krystal that I am right now. If you think you knew me at the start of the year, you definitely don't know me now. I guess like I've always been the type of person where I tried to fit in and mold into friendships. So sometimes some friendships weren't aligned, but I almost forced them because I was craving that, oh my God, like you're the bestest friend I could ever, like I was craving that like emotional connection with people because I never had that. And so I really craved and needed that from a lot of people. And that was a downfall of a lot of friendships. And I'm glad that I can sit here and recognize that, oh yeah, that's that reason why that friendship drifted away, is because I was becoming so emotionally dependent because I was craving that, but in all reality, that person wasn't serving me. But I've had a lot of friendships in my 20s, and like it was a really long-term friendship. Is that the one you're talking about?
I just remember you posting something on Instagram stories about,
yes.
and you were saying about a friend that used to be really critical of like what you posted.
I used to have a friend, and we were friends for a really long time, and now reflecting on that, I can see so many red flags along that friendship, and probably should have listened to my husband. We won't tell him that. But even he was like, I don't think this is right.
Yeah.
But because I so craved that emotional connection with people, and having a soul sister, because I've really struggled with having somebody I can connect with on that depth. But that person, it was really good in the beginning, and we got off, we went to events, we partied, we had a really great relationship. And then it just became almost very critical, like, oh, you made a spelling error. Oh, why would you wear that? And many times in my 20s, I had a boob job. I got breast implant illness, so I don't have them anymore. But then it was like critical of, oh, your boobs are too big, you shouldn't have went that big. And it was just all these things. Yeah. And then it was making me really self-conscious. It was just like, why would somebody make me feel like that? And yeah.
So for anyone listening who can really resonate with that, I'm sure, so many of us have friends or circles that you can be like, oh yeah, I definitely feel that, but maybe don't have the solid awareness. How did you start to really distance yourself and then call in the people that were more aligned? I know that's a big question.
It is a really big question. I think for us, there just was a indifference. It didn't end the way that I probably wanted it to, and that is fine. I'll probably never really have any closure on that friendship, and I've come to be really like content with that. But now I'm very mindful about my friendships and looking at, if I want to have a friend who I'm going to go to when I'm having my down moments, when I'm having my happy moments, I'm going to share everything with them. I'm really intentional with my friendships. And even this year, I've had a lot of friendships drop off because as I'm evolving and growing, I'm expanding my capacity to let in people who are able to hold me at my new self. But those people are now dropping off. And I used to get sad because I had an abandonment issue thing. But now I'm like, that is the universe telling me right now that I am making way for something even greater. Just trust me.
Oh, I love that so much. Now, I know you obviously support women building abundance. One of your little superpowers, I hope you don't mind me sharing, but he's literally turning skill sets into abundance, money, which I love.
I'm shopping
It's like your zone of genius. Can you share a little bit more about what that means and how your ability to do that?
I guess for me, like, I think every woman should be successful. I think we are such beautiful, amazing creatures. And I see women on a day-to-day basis through the business. And I just see some of them have lost their identity, their self-worth, their lack of confidence. And they really struggle with who are they and what is it that they actually love? And I almost give my clients like free coaching sessions every time I see them. But then I kind of dive into, well, who are you at your core? What is it that you actually love? What skill set are you good at that you could, if I said to you, if you had to do this forever, that you could do it? And then it's cool, like, why don't you start a business? Why don't you really tap into that thing that you love? And it's almost like they start thinking and it's like, oh, like I never thought about utilizing that skill set as a business. And I was like, your opportunities are so endless in today's society with the digital world and the online presence of everything. And we are able to make money. We can print money.
We can
literally, like I think about it. My husband says it to me all the time. He's like, you're literally printing money through the business. Gone are the days where I could never go back to a 9 to 5 because I make some people's income or monthly income in one day. And I'm like, that is just wild. And it is so easy to do. It's just with the mainstream, I guess, society these days, we're so conditioned to, got to go to work, I'm going to have a baby, I go on maternity leave, I've got to return to work because that's what we're socially conditioned to. But then it's like, when somebody introduces you to thinking outside the box, it's kind of like, hang on a second, I actually could start a business while I'm working my 9 to 5, make it work, and then leave my 9 to 5 to fund my 5 to 9.
I love it. And it's so true. I love that you even say like your skill set or your strengths and what you're passionate about, because I think, you know, in the past, society has taught us that we need to get educated on something and become smart at something or become good at something, versus we all have these innate things that are our strengths or our callings. And the fact that you like are so open to being able to be like, well, this is how you can monetize that, this is how you can build this into a business.
So easy.
Yes. And it's like you said, it's never ever been easier.
No, yeah.
So before we wrap up the episode, can you please share how people can work with you, connect with you, and of course listen to your amazing podcast?
Well, you can find Abundant and Ambitious, or Ambitious and Abundant. I shouldn't say that. No, it's Abundant and Ambitious on Spotify and Apple. You can find me there. And obviously I talk a little bit more about my story as well. So if you want to know more about where I came from and what it's like to be that little girl, I definitely go check it out. You can find me on socials at Krystal Lang _ and obviously the Abundant Ambitious podcast handle as well.
Krystal, thank you so much for joining me. I just adore you and our friendship and working with you. So thank you so much for your time and energy today.
Thank you so much for having me, Mads. Eternally grateful for you.
Oh, same.